Hey everyone, it's Randy. I have a new fun date story to tell. So, very quickly, I ended up meeting a man from the dating site at a restaurant on the water. And as usual, we don't talk on the phone beforehand. He stated he was 55 on the profile, and he seemed like moderately attractive, and he had pictures of boats and a picture of his car, but also a couple pictures of himself and his two kids that were 14 and 17. So I met him, and he got there first, and I walked in, and I could tell when I saw him that he was disappointed. He was disappointed when he saw me. I sat up at the bar with him, and he wouldn't look at me. He was like talking to me, but he was staring straight ahead instead of turning toward me. Like he did not want to look at me. So anyway, I ended up, conversation started to flow, and I was trying to be super nice. He did look like his picture, except he looked a little bit older than his photos. His hair was grayer and it was thinner. He had kind of like sporty type shorts and a shirt. So anyway, this guy, all he did was talk about himself and how rich he is. I have never had a guy trying to tell me how much money he has and how great he is, how smart he is, how talented with his job he is, and like how much money he made all over the years. At one point he was making $25,000 a month, and he was married once. He did not get married for the first and only time. He didn't get married until he was 42 years old. He stayed single until then. And then now he's been divorced for 8 years. By the way, he told me he is 62, even though his profile says 55. So he lied 7 years on that. We went to a table. We had a salad, and I had like 2 beers, and he had 1. Throughout the whole time, all he did was talk about his ex-wife, how she's an attorney, and how whatever he did wasn't good enough for her, and she insulted him by saying that all of their friends, the husband has a college degree, and this guy doesn't. And he was super offended, which I don't blame him. And then he kept saying, like how much more money he made than the other husbands that did have college degrees. But then his ex-wife seemed to care more about the college degree than all the fact that he built their house that they were living in. And then he also told me that he doesn't build anything, that he just manages everybody. He's just a contractor. I mean, I shouldn't say just a contractor. He is a contractor that does the management side of the business and basically hires other people and tells people what to do, but he doesn't do any of the work himself. So when he talks about I built the house, I mean, it's not like he built it with his hands. he just knew who to hire, and he had it built, and he may have designed it, whatever. It's fine. I mean, contractors, fine. That's my ex-husband too. I get it. And this guy was very successful at it. Some people are more successful than others. His wife was a high-powered attorney. Great. They're friends. Their best friends are like pro basketball players for Detroit, and like prosecuting attorneys and government officials, stuff like that. So, all right, he's definitely, upper class, but he had to keep telling me that. So, again, he didn't ask me a thing about myself or anything that I did, but he sure did want to unload everything, all of his feelings about his ex-wife and how he divorced her, and she wants him back, and he'll never take her back. And when I asked how does he know she wants him back, he didn't really have an answer for that, because obviously she doesn't want him back, but that's what he likes to tell himself, that she would come back to him at any time. So after we ate, instead of walking behind me to where my car was parked, he took the lead and went out of a different door because he had parked in the handicapped parking space. He told me that he is being treated for leukemia, currently has cancer, has been disabled. He walked with a serious limp, which I noted at the end of the day when we walked to his Mercedes. He has a Mercedes, and he walks with a serious limp, and he has cancer. And then he was also wearing a bracelet that had like a little red heart on it or whatever, that I asked him about, and he has heart issues. So even though he's in shape for a 62-year-old man, his personality is super annoying, hyperactive, boastful, arrogant, and he's got many physical issues. But he was better than me, probably because I didn't look young enough, and probably not thin enough to be the maybe arm candy that he had hoped, probably to just make his ex-wife jealous. Anyway, it was kind of amusing. It was amusing. I had a really good time that night. But this is the kind of men that I find, I rarely meet men who have that amount of money or who earn that amount of money. But when I have met men who are more in the upper class or upper middle class like that, they think they're so arrogant. They think that they should have like the absolute youngest, most beautiful woman next to them, because they make that amount of money. So you know what? That's not me. I'm not young, and I am not, don't have a smoking body. So obviously an average man's income is going to be just fine with me. But it didn't mean that I was going to say no to this date with this guy. Plus, I didn't know he had that much money when I went on the date with him. I didn't know until he told me all about it. So, anyway, that's the drawback of trying to get around a man that makes that kind of money. They're arrogant, and they think they deserve like the youngest, like highest quality woman because of the amount of money they make, and that's all they think they need. Their looks don't matter to them. They don't think it should matter to the woman, and their health doesn't matter either. They're all about, they think their whole value is in the money that they make, and it's not, that's not how I see men, as their value is in some kind of high income. I value their health, and I do value their looks and personality, and an average income is just fine with me. What do you guys think? Thanks for listening.